Hi, I'm John Grease, the third founder of Garage Life Media, and I think you're going to enjoy this next conversation. My guest is Shobit Jain, who's the founder of the India-based equipment company Dynamo Strength. We talked about his time at Westside Barbell, lessons he learned from Louie Simmons, and how the growth of fitness culture in India has been affected by COVID-19. Plus, we find out how you can get his new bench press ebook that's designed for you to make progress on the conjugate system without having to buy a lot of equipment. Check it out. Shobit, hey, how are you? Thank you for spending some time with me. It's evening for you, so thanks for staying up a little bit later for me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so you were telling me before we got started that the West Side guys call you Showtime. I think that's a
Yep.
really cool. That's one of those nicknames that it's like, that's actually, you try to go to your parents and say, why didn't you name me that instead of Shobit?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I told my parents, like, Westside guys used to call me Showtime, and they were like, why would you call you Showtime? I mean, did you show them something, or did you put on a show? I mean, when you were at gym, did you put on a show or something? Like, no, I mean, that was a nickname. I mean, they used to give nickname to everyone in
Of
Westside.
course, yeah.
So they gave me a nickname as well. So
You be like, Mom, Dad, where's your confidence? Of course I put on a show. Look at me.
exactly. Yeah, I've been to West Side, you know.
Yeah, that's man. So did you play sports when you were growing up? I know that cricket is popular in India. Did you play that?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of cricket. I mean, I used to play club level cricket, and I even got in the under 15 VCA trial list. So
Okay.
VCA is Vidarbh Cricket Association. That's one of the steps that you have to clear in order to get into the state level team. So
Okay.
I was mentioned in their trial list. So after, and I mean, the players who got in that trial list, they have to give a test in order to get selected for the final
Okay.
VCA team. And then from there, then you have to clear stages in order to play for the national team. So, I mean, I aspire to play for the Indian national team, but studies got in the way, so I had to, quit cricket. But I don't regret it. So,
Well, is
yeah.
cricket something that you could make a living from in India?
Yeah, I mean, the BCCI, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, is one of the richest board in the world. I mean, the ICC, the International Cricket Council, is the 70% of the money that the ICC gets is from BCCIs. And as you know, I mean, India has a huge population, and
Okay.
cricket is like a religion here in India.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
people follow cricket religiously, and the stadiums are jam packed whenever there's a match happening, so they make a lot of money out of tickets. So it's
Wow.
one of the richest sports in India.
So you turn your back on that to
Yeah.
go be a power lifter. What's wrong with? We need to have a whole different conversation than I intended.
Yeah.
Man. um, well, you could have used the name Showtime when you're playing cricket. Man.
Yeah.
Uh, well, so you did compete in raw powerlifting. I feel like, man, this guy went
Hmm.
from this to raw powerlifting. But powerlifting is actually a fairly popular sport too, with a lot of opportunities. So
Hmm.
you competed in raw powerlifting. Now you want to compete in equipped powerlifting. What are
Yep.
some challenges that you're facing as you go from raw to equipped? Because it's not the same sport. People think it is. It's
Yeah.
always bench pressing. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not the same thing.
Exactly. See, when you're in the raw powerlifting, you just have to worry about getting stronger. Obviously, it isn't that easy. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. I mean, years of dedication. But when it comes to equipped, you have to get strong raw. Without the equipment, you have to be strong. Plus, you have to put in the work in order to learn the equipment. you know you just cannot put on a bench shirt and expect to get a 300-pound carryover from
Mm-hmm.
that. You have to learn. It's
Okay.
a huge learning curve. You just cannot put on a squat suit and just squat down and up. You have to learn how to flare your knees in the squat suit, because that squat suit is very tight. you know it can leave bruises on your legs. So I've got bruises on my legs wearing the squat suit, even the bench shirt. It's very painful, but you have to get used to it.
Okay.
So with equipped powerlifting, there's raw strength plus the learning curve associated with the equipment. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's very difficult to transition, but you know, if you're willing to put in the work, then nothing is, you know, difficult for you.
So
So, I
here's
mean,
a
mm-hmm,
no. I was just gonna say, like, for someone who doesn't understand, I think a good analogy is I played football 1 year when I was in high school, American football 1 year when I
okay,
was in high school, and
mm-hmm,
there is a tremendous difference between playing football out with your friends. You just basically playing catch, all right,
yeah,
or playing flag football, even like there's nothing, and then you put the
mm-hmm,
helmet on and you can't see anything. So just to try to catch the ball, you used to be able to just
mm-hmm,
do this for a
yeah,
pass that's coming over your shoulder. You just do this, right? But
mm-hmm.
now it's
You have to
so
turn
you
your
so you,
entire
you
body.
right. And so like people always think of, like, when people are watching football players, they're like, well, how come he didn't see that? Well, there's the loud noises of people running around you. Plus, you can't
Exactly.
see anything because of the
Mm-hmm.
helmet. And so there is a
Yep.
learning curve. The reason why they're able to do it is because most of them start when they're little children, putting on the
Mm-hmm.
helmets and the pads and learning how to operate in it. And so although I've never done equipped powerlifting, that from
Mm-hmm.
talking to other people who have, that is
Mm-hmm.
the analogy I thought of, is like, well, yes, you have to have some natural talent, you have to have natural ability, but then
Yep.
you just have to spend time learning the equipment and learning how to take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of what it does for you without letting
Yeah.
it hurt you, I guess, is like you get out of the
Mm-hmm.
groove and then now all of a sudden you're stuck or whatever.
Right.
Am I right?
Right. Yep. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you spent some time at Westside. You were an intern when you were there, and a lot of people don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that Westside Barbell has interns. Um,
Yep.
And I remember in the 90s, I mean, I knew about Westside Barbell because I worked in a gym, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like one of those places you couldn't just get to, because Louie Simmons didn't want just anybody wandering in. So how did
Mm-hmm.
you end up getting your internship at Westside?
You know, I was when I was doing internship at Westside, I mean, that internship was a part of my, curriculum. I was studying biomedical engineering, master's degree in biomedical engineering at the University of Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the story goes like, in the March of 2017, um, I mean, I was in Cincinnati, so Columbus was 2 hours drive away. So I was like, there was Arnold Classic Expo happening. So I was like, I cannot miss it. If I am so near Columbus,
Yeah.
I cannot miss it. I cannot afford to lose that opportunity. So I just went to Arnold Classic, and suddenly I realized Westside Barbell is in Columbus. So I need to meet Louie Simmons. I mean, I was waiting for this opportunities before, since 2015, when I first learned about what Westside Barbell was, what conjugate method is, who Louie Simmons is, Dave Tate, and all those other guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just waiting for this opportunity to meet Louie Simmons. So I was like, I told my friend, let's, give a visit, So I just went in there, and, there were a few other visitors as well. I mean, usually they open up for visitors during the, Arnold week.
Okay.
So I was one of them. So I went in there, and me and Louis, we just casually started talking about lifting and, accommodating resistance, bands and chains, and, the rack pulls and the squat and everything. So he was pretty impressed with me. So he was like, okay, just hop into my car and we'll go to the office. So in between, I asked him like,
So Louie Simmons kidnapped you. That's how you should have started.
yeah.
Well, Louie Simmons kidnapped me. That's what happened.
Yeah. So I mean, like in between the drive, I just asked him like, do you have any kind of internship opportunity? I would like to learn from you guys. So he was like, okay, you can talk to my manager, Tom Barry. So I just went to the office and I asked Tom, I want to do an internship under you if you allow me to. So he was like, yeah, we would love to have you. And, they were so welcoming, contrary to the popular belief. And like you said, in the 90s, they were pretty much shut for the outsiders. They were only open for the guys who lifted, 800 plus pounds in the squat, and whoever they selected to be at Westside. But now they are becoming more open because, you know, they want to help people. They want to learn, they want to help athletes and people to understand, you know, what strength training truly is, how to, you know, advance in strength training, how to make progress, how to take your athletic career, you know, to newer heights. So they're all about that, and they're just not about powerlifting anymore. You know, back in the 80s and 90s, they used to be about powerlifting. Now they are open to all of the sports. Louis is a big
Oh
fan of, you
yeah.
know, fights. You know, he enjoys.
Yeah, because I know he had Matt Brown. He had
Yep.
Matt the Immortal Brown there, and some other
Mm-hmm.
fighters. I know he's very influential in CrossFit. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. So
what are some
that's
things
how I ended
that,
up over there.
I mean, Louis built his brand at a time when powerlifting was very much under the radar. If you
Mm-hmm.
even, I mean, you even though it's funny because on the one hand you had like the WPO, and they
Mm-hmm.
had these huge events in the 80s, but then Louis started building his brand, I guess, like in the late 80s and the 90s, and powerlifting was
Mm-hmm.
under the radar. You didn't really see a lot of it in the magazines, like
Mm-hmm.
bodybuilding magazines or anything like that. But he was still able to build it. What are some things you picked up from Louis that you can apply to what you're trying to do with your brand in India?
Wow. That's a very interesting question, and a difficult one too. Um,
Yeah.
I actually learned a lot of things from Louis. I mean, but if I were to mention two important things, then one would be passion, because, you know, I've never seen Louis miss even a single training session. He is, you know, always in the gym, training his crew, training his athletes to get better, you know, giving small tips and tricks and feedbacks that can make them better,
Mm-hmm.
get that small 5 pound PR, you know, what they always strive for. So he's always there helping his athletes. And, you know, also he's there when nobody is around. He is in the gym putting in the work, you know, working on his GPP, or addressing his weaknesses, or, you know, whatever the goal is, performing those small, you know, 15, 20 minutes, small workouts, mini workouts that they call, um, 2 to 3 times a day. You know, he's putting in the work. Because he is passionate. Without passion, you cannot do it. Otherwise, you'll be making excuses like, oh, okay, I'm done with my workout. That was a major workout. It was a brutal one. Now I need to sleep. He is willing to get better, you know, as well as, you know, he is looking to make people better. That's why he's coming up with new equipments, you know, innovating like reverse hypers, the MR19 that they newly, you know, developed. So he wants everybody, all the athletes, not only in US but across the world, to get better at their respective sports. That's why he is opening up to the world, you know, producing equipments and showing it to the world that you can do this and do that, and, you know, also teaching his methods to
Mm-hmm.
people, you know, conjugate method, recommending books. So, I mean, I also try to, you know, do the same thing at my work as well as in the gym. At work, you know, I try to help my employees to, you know, improve and work better, create an environment that is, you know, conducive for growth. You know, I want them to feel that it is not my business and they are not the employees. I want them to feel like it is their business, you know,
Mm.
and not only me, but they are also the owner of this business, you know.
Okay.
Be- everybody should everybody should, you know, grow mutually, you know,
Yeah.
together. So it's a teamwork. So, and the second thing that I would say would be, um, being a student in your field, because, you know, everybody who has been to Westside and interacted with Louis knows that, you know, he spends most of his work, you know, reading books. So he is always, you know, trying to gain knowledge, you know, absorb knowledge like a sponge, and, you know, interacting with different coaches, different people, different athletes, and as well as learning from them. You know, imagine a guy of his stature who has done so much in the sport, produced so many world champions. He is willing to learn, you know, from someone like, for example, me. I mean, he used to learn from me
Yeah.
without me even knowing it, you know. So after 2 or 3 days, he used to tell me, okay, I learned this from you. I'm like, I didn't even notice that you were learning from me.
Yeah.
You know, so he is always, you know, curious. He is always learning. That's what I also try to do at my business. You know, I like to learn from my employees, you know, hear their opinions. I mean, because yeah, it's not like I know everything. They might be knowing something better than me. So,
Right.
you know, why not learn from them? So these are the two important things that I learned from, you know, learn from Louie.
There is a big and very important truth in what you said, because typically the people who are very close-minded are the people with the
Mm-hmm.
least amount of experience,
Mm-hmm.
because they are insecure about what they know, and so they
Yep.
don't want to listen to anyone else because they don't want to feel like. So I'm a martial artist, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
you find that the people who are like yellow belts and green belts are very, very
Mm-hmm.
defensive, because
Mm-hmm.
they were just white belts and they're tired of being on the low end of the totem pole. So as
Mm-hmm.
soon as they learn anything, first of all, we used to say that the yellow belts get into more fights than anybody else on the street because
Okay.
they just learn just enough to go get in trouble. And then the green belts
Yeah.
are very arrogant because they're like, they can't wait
Mm-hmm.
for somebody else to join the school because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I can teach you what I know. I mean, it's good that they want to teach, but you know what I mean? It's coming from a
Yeah.
position of arrogance. But the
Mm-hmm.
black belts will learn from a white belt, because a
Yep.
black belt will say, they might say, okay, this is how you do it. Then they watch the student, somebody who's brand new, do it. And they'll say, well, why did you do it that way? Because they just
Mm-hmm.
learned something. It may not have even occurred to them that you could even do it that way, because we all have different
Yep.
leverages. We all have different,
Mm-hmm.
what you call levels of fast twitch fibers, just whatever. And so I think
Yep.
it's really great. Like whenever you find somebody who is willing to continue learning, usually that means that that person is good at what they do, because you're comfortable. You know who you are. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Exactly. I mean, and you know, I think the world right now is so full of, you know, narrow-minded people that, you know, they don't want to share their knowledge with others. I mean, I try to, you know, move around and get around with people, you know, who from whom I can learn, and from to whom I can teach as well, you know,
Yeah.
and who are willing to learn from me as well. That is very, very important thing, because you know, that is how we all grow together. You know, it's not like me versus you all the time. You know, we can grow each other. That's when, you know, West Side culture is like that. I mean, they live in a crew. Many people are of the opinion, you know, they have a fierce competition among you know, in between, amongst the crew members. It is true, but they also are responsible to lift each other up. Now, if one of the member is not contributing to the growth of the group, he is thrown out. So that's how I think the world should be. You know, we should always try to learn from each other and teach each other. You know, nobody is perfect.
100%, man. Even when you go to powerlifting meets, I mean, granted, you see people who are competing against each other, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
except for like at the very top national level meets where the people are really, really competing for all-time world
Mm-hmm.
records or whatever, and even there a little bit, you still see people helping each other out. Hey, I just
Exactly.
saw you do that or whatever, because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, fitness in general, even as big as it has grown, it's still just a
Mm-hmm.
small part of our
Yep.
overall culture. It's a very tiny
Mm-hmm.
subculture, and to me, it makes no sense when people are, they're divisive. They say, "Well, I'm a CrossFitter, or I'm a powerlifter, or I'm a strongman competitor, or whatever." There's going to be some good nature poking fun at each other,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, we all work out, and especially for us
Yep.
who work out at home, we're even smaller
Mm-hmm.
part of
Yeah.
of a larger fitness culture. So to me, I'm like, hey, I don't care if you're doing yoga and you're doing it at
Mm-hmm.
home and I'm doing, lifting. To me, we still have a
Mm-hmm.
bond and we should be able to learn from each other.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about the Indian culture, okay? Because I
Mm-hmm.
watched the most recent Generation Iron film,
Mm-hmm.
Generation Iron 3. And during the film, they mentioned that there were a few issues that were facing the Indian fitness community. So two
Mm-hmm.
big ones were the literacy rate as a whole in India had
Mm-hmm.
limited people's ability to teach and learn fitness concepts. So you basically have to go and learn from somebody in person. They couldn't just write a
Mm-hmm.
book and you read it. And then there was also perception among Indians that genetics would limit your ability to put on muscle. And Kai
Mm-hmm.
Green is in the film, and he mentioned that he was at an event in India, and they asked him,
Mm-hmm.
"Do you think that genetically we'll ever be able to put on any muscle?" Because they're looking
Mm-hmm.
at him and looking at
Mm-hmm.
the size of the average person at the time, and they're like, "There's no way, right?" So
Yeah.
that first of all, is that accurate? Are those two things that have been an issue in India?
um, I actually haven't watched Generation Iron, so I'm pretty much. I mean, I'm not. I haven't watched Generation Iron 2 and 3. I watched the first part, but that was long back. I mean, I think
Okay.
it was produced in 2013 or 14
Yeah.
that year. So I don't remember what they said about the Indian fitness community. But yeah, I mean, I can surely tell you that scene is improving since especially in the last 3 to 4 years. The scene is getting pretty well now.
Okay.
There was a time when content was not available to us here. Nobody, like you said, nobody could write a book or produce some kind of articles related to fitness, powerlifting, bodybuilding, or whatever you want to say. They didn't have much of a knowledge and exposure, but since a lot of events have started to take place in India, athletes, the personal trainers, they are getting exposure, and now they are trying to write a book or produce content, get their articles published in different websites or magazines, and also do different levels of certification courses from international level organizations like ACSM, NSCA, or ISSA, ISA, whatever we call it. So yeah, I mean, the scene is getting better. People are getting much more aware now. And now, when it comes to genetics, I mean, I do agree that genetics play a huge role in your ability to excel at your sport. But you need to work hard as well. You cannot simply say, okay, I don't have the genetics, so I won't do it.
All right.
You still have to do it. I mean, you still have to try. Who
Yeah.
knows? You might have the genetics, but you might be but you are underestimating yourself, and then you try it, and maybe you can do better at whatever sport you want to pursue. So I mean, uh, in regards to bodybuilding, I do agree to some extent with Kai Green that yeah, Indian genetics is not there to produce that kind of muscularity that you see on Big Ramy or Kai Green or Ronnie Coleman. We have a small structure.
Hmm.
We our biomechanics, our structure is very different from an average American guy or average Russian guy or um, for a guy from UK. It's a different structure. So we are pretty much limited with that. But we can make the most of it. you know
Yeah.
we can work with whatever we have. We cannot complain. You
Right.
can complain if you have put in the work but it didn't work out for you. Then
Hmm.
you can blame, yeah, okay, I have the small structure, I don't have the genetics. But first put in the work. That is the number one rule to excel at any sport.
But I mean,
So
even if you have like and to be clear now, Kai Green was saying that someone had asked him that. He said that he
hmm
thought that Indians could do whatever they want if you just put the time in,
hmm
like you said, put in the work. But it also occurs to me that if you have small bone structure and
hmm
you're able to put on it doesn't take as much muscle to make you look big from a bodybuilding standpoint because your joints are smaller. So I guess it's one of those things. It's like you have to kind of look at your advantages, like what
hmm
advantages you have, and try to
hmm
maximize those, just like powerlifting or any other sport. Look at
yep.
maximize your advantages and try to minimize the
hmm
disadvantages, that are there for you.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, you can look at Dexter Jackson. He has a very small
yeah.
structure, but he is muscular as hell. I mean,
Oh yeah. It
he
doesn't
is
have to
one of
weigh
the
a lot.
guys. Yeah. I mean, he is one of the guy I idolize because he destroyed the myth that you have to be huge in order to win any bodybuilding contest. I
Right.
mean, he won 2008 Olympia.
Yeah.
He wasn't big as Jay Cutler, but he still beat Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
You know, so small structure, different biomechanics, but still one Olympian. So I think Indians can do it as well, in my opinion.
You mentioned the expos, the fitness events. So like there's Fit Expo
Mm-hmm.
India, FitX India, the Fit India Expo, and they're
Mm-hmm.
showcasing some of the people who are, and you guys actually have at least one Indian IFBB pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you go to the expos, and I've seen some of the videos and whatnot, it shows that
Mm-hmm.
there are people there from your country who have built impressive muscle. But in the
Mm-hmm.
larger country, right? Because cricket is number
Mm-hmm.
one, is up here for you guys, right? So where does fitness
Mm-hmm.
rank in terms of uh, importance for the general population? Because that's what I'm focused on, and I guess it's who you focus on too. Because you have a company that sells equipment, so
Yep.
you can't just sell to
Mm-hmm.
that one bodybuilder. You have to sell to a lot of people to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the impact on the
Yep.
general Indian culture of the fact that you guys are starting to have these events?
See, as you already know, I mean, India is a very densely populated country, so uh, huge population. But with the huge population comes a increasing awareness. I mean, especially during, like I said, during the last 3 to 4 years, the awareness for fitness. I mean, not just going to gym or something, yoga, meditation, overall well-being. It is improving. It is increasing very fast. An average Indian guy is now more focused on fitness. Everybody wants to, have six-pack abs or do some kind of, handstand push-up, whatever, do that. So fitness is now becoming one of the highest priorities for an average Indian guy, you know. So, and with the expos and everything coming in, the awareness is increasing even more rapidly. I can say that the awareness is following an exponential upward curve for when it comes to fitness, because even if you see, even the cricketers now, the cricket players in India, they are focusing on their overall fitness. Like the Indian cricket team captain Virat Kohli, you can see his Instagram post performing Olympic lifting or doing some kind of box jumps or glute ham raises. He has his own home gym setup. So
I like him already. Home gym
yeah.
setup. There we go.
Yeah. So I mean, he is one of the role models for an average Indian guy. Everybody looks up to him. He is one of the best cricketers to have ever walk into the Indian cricket team. You know, uh, so uh, so when personalities like him, they follow the fitness. They try to use fitness to improve their health. An average, I mean, an average Indian guy is obviously going to follow it. He is looking up to his idol, and he will do whatever his idol is doing. So he so I mean, fitness is one of the top-notch uh, priority for Indians right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your company, because I've brought it up a couple of times. You own a fitness equipment company, and it's called Dynamo Strength. Okay.
Yep.
I know that COVID-19, your quarantine presented some unique challenges, challenges that were unique to India. So like here in America,
Yep.
we were quarantined, but if I wanted to go, we're very close to we live in Georgia, but we're close to the Tennessee border. So if I wanted to go to Tennessee for something, I could do it. I could have done it. Okay. But from what I understand from talking to a couple of other people, we've done 2 other interviews with people from India, you couldn't travel between states in India at all.
Yep.
So how did that impact your company? Because now you can't ship equipment anywhere.
It has. I mean, okay. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I mean, our business was going pretty up, and the sale volume was going pretty quickly up. Even during the first month of COVID-19, the sale volume was going up because the gyms were with the onset of COVID-19, the gyms were getting shut. So everybody who were into fitness, who were trying to keep fit, they were trying to set up their own home gyms, buying dumbbells, barbells, power racks, or plates. So um, they were trying to procure the highest quality products in the market.
Okay.
So in the first month, our sale volume went up pretty quickly, but there was a time when everybody started to save money to cover their basic expenses.
Okay.
Because nobody knew when will this COVID-19 end and when will this lockdown end. So everybody started to save money. So they were looking to buy cheaper products. They started to compromise on the quality. They just wanted something to lift, at their homes. So that time our sale started to decline. But it's okay. I mean, we can understand the consumer mindset. I mean, I'm a businessman, but I'm a consumer as well. So I can pretty much understand, with the jobs being lost, everybody will obviously try to save money. So it's, we have no complaints about that. And, we have we are pretty much focused on the local market, and the nearby districts, nearby cities. So we were anyways, I mean, when we heard the news of COVID-19 and, um, the restrictions the government was planning to impose, the travel ban from state to state, we were pretty much, ready for that. So we actually started to not accept orders from outside state, because we don't want our customers to be disappointed. Okay, I've placed order on their website, now they are not shipping the product to me. So we didn't want that, because our brand image gets spoiled with that. So we just told them, okay, these are the restrictions that we cannot accept your order right now, but as soon as these restrictions are lifted up, we will accept your order and hope ship the products to you. So if you want, you can cancel the order. If you want, you can keep it so that we can later on ship it to you. So we try to stay flexible as well. So yeah, we try to focus on the local market, try to satisfy the needs of the people in the city as well as the nearby city within the state. So I mean, that's how we are working right now. I mean, even though the sale has gone down considerably, but it's okay. I mean, we can understand the times are tough, so we will bounce back.
Okay, so I looked at your website, and the only equipment I could see was the dumbbells, and the dumbbells were out of stock. I wasn't very shocked because it's like that here in the States. It's like, if I want to make money, all I got to do is put a Facebook post on, hey, I have dumbbells. Boom, just like that, they'll show up, right?
Exactly.
But is that so? I'm assuming that's because people are just buying stuff as soon as you get it in stock, or are you having trouble with getting the stuff in stock yourself? You know what I mean? Like the person who manufactures for you, are you having problems getting it from them? Or is it that as soon as you get it, somebody buys it?
No, I mean, initially the scene was like, I mean, whenever they were getting manufactured, people were ordering it. So they were quickly going out of stock. But there was a time when, the vendor from whom we were procuring the raw material for the dumbbell. I mean, we do not do only the trading part. We manufacture dumbbells, so we procure the raw materials and we manufacture the dumbbells. So the vendor from whom we were procuring the raw material, due to COVID-19, he had to shut his business. I mean, he went completely out of business.
Oh, wow.
So pretty unfortunate for him, because he was doing pretty well, but within a month he just went out of business. So and he used to give very high quality products to us, very high quality raw material to us.
Was it the steel, or was it the rubber, or what is it that he's?
The rubber. Okay. Steel we procure. Steel is pretty cheap. I mean, it's not a big thing to have the steel. I mean, we can get it locally, but rubber was, we wanted to get the rubber of a very, high quality, so that
Okay.
even if you drop it, the rubber, the rubber chips don't break out, and, the dumbbells won't look very ugly, and our customers won't, grab our neck. So, I mean, he went completely out of business, and then, we started looking for other vendors, but we could not find that kind of quality. So we are still looking for other vendors that can supply the same quality, or much better quality than that. As soon as we find the vendors, we will restock it.
So
So
tell me, so like I said, when I looked on your website, all I saw was the dumbbells.
mhm.
But just briefly go through, like, what are the things that you sell, that the equipment your company sells?
Okay, so we produce power racks, we produce barbells, the straight one, the regular power bar. We can make squat bar, like the Texas squat bar. We can make barbells like that.
So you have the India squat bar,
We can make barbells with different kinds of knurling.
right?
Yeah. So you can say that Indian squat bar.
There you go. Hey,
So
why not?
we can make barbells with yeah, I mean, we can make a barbell with different kind of knurlings, the neutral level knurlings, and the saber tooth knurling, very aggressive ones, that you find on the Westside Bulldog bar, that is very aggressive knurling. We can make that kind of knurling as well. We can make safety squat bar. We can make the 14-inch cambered bar. You might have seen on one of my squat videos, the 14-inch cambered bar. And then we can make the bar, the football bar,
Okay.
like the American Swiss bar that the Elite FTS make. So
Yeah.
we can make that kind of bar. We can make dumbbells, the chrome plated, the adjustable dumbbells, uh, um, where you can load on the plate, remove the plate, put on the collar, something like that. So we can make those kind of adjustable dumbbells, um, and we can make that adjustable, that the squat rack monolift, we
Okay.
can make that. So yeah, these are the few limited equipments that we make. We are also trying to we are actually planning to sell the reverse hypers once we get the permission from the man himself, Louie Simmons. If he allows us, then only I'll proceed and sell it in India, because I just don't want to steal his idea. I
Oh yeah.
want him to get the credit for what he's done for
Okay.
the sport and for the overall health and well-being of the entire world. So yeah, I mean, and we can also make glute ham raises
Okay.
and the deadlift platform. Yeah, and the
Okay.
and the plates. Yeah.
So I told you I spoke to two other home gym
Mm-hmm.
owners from India,
Mm-hmm.
and so those interviews are here on our YouTube channel. But the two things that stick out to me after talking to you, number
Mm-hmm.
one, both of them have their home gyms on the roofs of their home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you guys have to deal with the monsoon. There's tremendous humidity.
Yep.
So do you guys have to do anything special? I don't want you to give away any secrets, but you know what I mean? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
create your stuff with knowing that this is going to be outside in the elements, or is at least going to be exposed to tremendous humidity. So
Mm-hmm.
is that a reason why somebody should get from you as opposed to buying it from outside of the country? Or is, pretty much the stuff that you make is just, it's a bar is a bar?
Yeah, I mean, a bar is a bar. I mean, it has no relation to the weather or something. I mean, so a bar is a bar, and we focus on quality. We are more focused on quality to give the best possible, the highest quality one, the bar that can be loaded up to 400 kg or 500 kg, which is like about 1100 or 1200 pounds, something like that. So we are mostly focused on that. I mean, weather conditions, no, I mean, weather conditions don't affect us.
Okay.
So I hope I answered your question,
No,
right?
you did, because so let me put it like this. All right. So
Uh-huh.
here in the States, you have people
Uh-huh.
we used to sell, these bars used to be very popular, the
Mm-hmm.
black oxide coating, right? But that's actually
Okay.
not good because those bars are actually more prone to rusting if
Mm-hmm.
when the oxide coating comes off. So now people make, they're all into Cerakote or whatever. If you want to have a different color bar, you use Cerakote. And then the bare steel bars
Mm-hmm.
also are susceptible to rust. So you have to spend
Rusting.
more
Yeah.
time oiling them, right? And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. Like, so because you recognize that your bar is in an environment where it's going to be very humid, I would say, okay, well, we're not going to make a bar
Oh.
like that's going to be more susceptible to, like, I won't even offer it to you because I know black oxide is bad. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And now I understand the question correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, uh, okay, I mean, we do take all those factors into account. When if somebody, we actually give three kind of options: the bare steel one, the black oxide one, and the nickel one. The so we mostly try to give the nickel ones to our customers who live in the very humid areas, although it is a bit costly, but still, I mean, we try to sell the nickel ones because we don't want to hear complaints. We want our customers to buy the best one. We don't want them to be disappointed with our product.
Right.
So, I mean, we do take the weather and all those different kinds of bars into account. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. That makes sense. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that I talked to, they said that when they were able to get equipment, the first place they went was Amazon, because
Mm-hmm.
like it is here in the States,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon is, hey, you can get anything from Amazon. Quite,
Exactly.
especially since quarantine, people have been buying all sorts of stuff. I always joke with my wife that the guy who's our UPS delivery driver, he probably
Mm-hmm.
thinks he's like, what are they opening up in that house there? What are they doing? Because there's so much random stuff that shows up here.
Yep.
Um, it's like it's weights and it's in it. Well, what is that though? That doesn't even go with that thing. But
Yeah.
do you see it when you hear that your customers are going on Amazon and buying cheaper quality stuff than you
Mm-hmm.
can create? Do you see it as
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity? Because you're like, hey, well, that means obviously that there are people out there who want my product.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it like, you know what? It's like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's discouragement, but it's frustrating. Like, look, I've got this good thing here and you're going over there. You know what I mean? So how do you address
Um,
that?
yeah, I mean, at times it is a bit frustrating. I mean, because, um, but we do, and like I said, we do understand because it is a time of crisis, so everybody wants to save money. Um, our our products are a bit on a bit higher price than what is being offered on Amazon. So I mean, we don't have any complaints, because if they want to buy from Amazon, they are free to go. I mean, it's all good. But we do have a very loyal customer base.
Mhm.
People who always come to our website or come to our office or call me or call one of our sales representative, whatever they want to buy. So they call, they visit, and they just directly offer the product. They don't even care to ask about the price, because they know that whatever we are selling is of premium quality. So,
Mhm.
I mean, those are the people that do not want to sacrifice on the quality, because they see in the long term, you know,
Yeah.
I will pay an extra amount of money right now, but I won't have to regret it later, after, because my product is going to last for 5 to 10 years easily,
Right.
without a doubt.
Okay.
So it saves your money in the long run.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, well-made bars. I mean, so like York is a
Mm-hmm.
well-known brand over here in the States, and
Mm-hmm.
there are so many stories of people that go to a yard sale and somebody had a York product and it's just
Mm-hmm.
was in somebody's shed for years. They bring it out, you buy it for 10 cents, take it home, clean it up, and it works great. You can pass it on to your own grandkids because they made the products to last, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why I always tell people, look, I realize that you could get something cheaper today from somewhere else, but you also have to
Mm-hmm.
take into account your safety. because, you know, we're home gym owners. We're at the house. So
Yep.
maybe I'm working out and it's just me here. What happens, or
Mm-hmm.
it's me and my little girl? What happens if this thing fails and I
Yep.
get hurt and she's the only one here? Will she call the ambulance for me? I'm just stuck, you know? So I actually take a stronger stance about safety and quality because I recognize I'm in situations where it may just be me in the home.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your bench press book. That's on, we just finished talking bad about Amazon, but now I'm going to talk good about it. Okay. So your book is on Amazon. Your book is on Amazon. What was your goal in writing the book?
My book, I mean, like the title says, increase your bench press with minimal equipment, you know, because I have interacted with a lot of powerlifters over here who, you know, who complain like, you know, they are the bench press specialists and they complain like, okay, I do not have this kind of equipment. I wish I had that kind of equipment and this machine or that machine. I'm like, then the idea came to my mind. I'm like, you do not have to have those fancy chrome plated equipments at your disposal to increase your strength. You can work with the basics and improve your strength. You just need some creativity, and this, I mean, it all starts here. You know, you just have to be creative, and you know, and try to come up with ways that can improve your strength. Obviously, you're going to hit plateaus, but you need creativity to find ways to bust through those plateaus. You know, the plateaus are not always, you know, they are not always there to last. You know, they will not always be there unless you allow them to, you know. So my goal was to, you know, tell people, hey, you can train with a barbell, plates, a rack, and a pair of bands, and a bench, of course. So you can train in different ways. So, you know, I myself train in the conjugate way. So I felt like conjugate is the best way to train with minimal equipments and still see some enormous strength gains. Because, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, powerlifters didn't have all those fancy, you know, chrome-plated equipments.
Right.
They still got stronger. So if they can get stronger, why can't we in this age? You know, we have the technology.
Pat Casey. Yeah, like guys like Pat Casey, 600 pounds, Doug Hepburn.
Exactly. I mean, those were huge people, you know.
Yeah.
So, and we have technology. We have YouTube. Those guys didn't have YouTube. They use their brains. We have YouTube to, you know, at our disposal, and we can watch different YouTube channels like Elite FTS, you know, Kabuki Strength, learn from Westside guys. There's so many things available from where you can learn tons of things. So I just wanted to, you know, put a great amount of information in one book that anyone can use here or overseas and train, you know, if especially if they are garage gym owners with limited equipment. So the goal was that.
What's been the reaction to the book?
So far, it has been good. I mean, people have bought it, and Indians have bought it. There are some people who haven't left reviews in the US, but it's okay. I mean, they bought the Kindle edition. But yeah, Indians, the people who have bought it, they personally left reviews on Instagram that they absolutely love the book, and they, you know, they learned so much of things from the book. They didn't even think about all those things, you know. So they learned a lot from the book, and some of them even said, you know, they didn't even know what conjugate method was. You know, what maximal effort method is, what dynamic effort method is, what is repetition effort, because all they knew was repetition after repetition after repetition. So after reading the book, you know, they were like, oh man, this book is the eye opener. So I'm like, that's what I wanted to hear. That's why I wanted to write this book. You know, it should be an eye opener. It should open a lot of possibilities for you to train, you know. So yeah, the response has been pretty much overwhelming over here.
Nice. Well, I mean, the big thing that I wanted out of this is, as you saw that when I connected with you, I immediately connected you to two other people who I felt could use your products. And that's really what our job is as a brand. Is I feel like this is a sort of a mini rant, and I recognize that. But I feel like there are too many home gym brands that focus only on showing you the latest piece of equipment, but then we have left home gym culture in such a state that somebody buys the equipment and then they feel they have to go outside of home gym culture in order to learn how to use it effectively. And it's because we've kind of just left them by the wayside, and instead all we focus on is, you know, we want to get more followers, so we'll have raffles to make you believe that you're going to win something, but tag 2 friends. And really at the end of it is like, what sort of content am I actually giving you as a home gym brand, right? And I think that that's something that really bothers me. So one of the things that we focus on with our brand is connecting you, and it's probably the primary thing we do is I try to connect people with resources that can help them. And I feel that you are one of those resources. So I want you to tell people how they can follow you on Instagram. I don't care if they're in India or outside India. How can they follow you on Instagram? How can they get your book on Amazon? And then we'll put the links for everything. And also, how can they go to your website if they just, because you have a blog and everything. So give me your Instagram, all your social media. Tell them, you know, where they can get the book. And then we'll put the descriptions for everything, the links for everything in the description for this video. Okay?
Okay. So my Instagram handle is, you know, I am Shobit Jain, IAMSHOBITJAIN, and my website address is dynamostrength.com, you know, www.dynamostrength.com. And you know, my bench press book, you can go on Amazon and search for bench press or write my name, Shobit Jain. The book will automatically come in. And plus I have 2 more books coming up, probably at the end of this year or maybe next year. The squat manual as well as the deadlift manual. So I'm actually experimenting a few things. As soon as I, you know, come up with a conclusion, I'll try to write everything in the book.
Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Shobit. If you'd like to follow him on Instagram, I'll put the link to that in the description for this video. You can get his bench press ebook off of Amazon. Of course, we want you to follow us on Instagram as well, because that's how you can interact with Garage Gym Life Media on a daily basis. If you want to check out some more cool videos, just click right there. And if you want to support this channel and what we're trying to do for home gym culture, go right there to our merch store. I'll see you next time.